I am heading out to City Center Market today. Are weekly farmers markets worth it for handmade businesses? That's what we are exploring today. And if you're new here, my name is Jody. I'm the owner of Maison Camellia, a small batch textile studio located in South Carolina. And I'm heading out to City Center Market in Florence, South Carolina, which is a weekly year-long farmers market near me. And that's exactly what I am looking to answer for my own business. I've done 2 of these back to back. Come along, I'm sharing some market clips and a full recap of both markets and ultimately deciding, are weekly farmers markets worth it? Let's get into it. Alright, so the market has just started. This is my second Saturday and I am all set up here. It is supposed to be really, really hot today, so they have decided to close the market at noon, which is an hour early. So we will see. Last Saturday I made all of my sales within that last hour, so I'm curious to see how it will affect the attendance. All right, so it is 9:48, a little before 10, and I have had one sale, and it was a really good sale. And I have officially sold out of my stand-up pouches, so I will be needing to sew some more of those. I think what I'm going to do now is just film a little bit of the market. All right, so these weekly markets, even though the revenue is not huge, they are still some of my favorite markets to do because I get so much feedback from people visiting my booth, and also how easy it is what makes this market worth it, in my opinion. Morning. So one of the things that I really love about this market is it's just $10 to vend, and they provide the tent, they provide an 8-foot table, and also you only need to give them 2-week heads up for this particular market, and you can pay in advance for 10 plus Saturdays for a discount. So I haven't done that yet, but I love the flexibility of this market. Now I know a lot of farmers markets are not like that. There are quite a few farmers markets in neighboring cities and towns that I could also consider that require you to apply at the beginning of the season, and then you're kind of locked in to that market for the season. I know there are a lot of different types of setups for these markets. Hi there, good morning. How are you? Thank you. Yep, all of these are handmade by me.
That's really pretty as well.
Yeah.
You do that too. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, it's a tray from Home Goods. I just flipped it upside down. Thank you.
Well, good luck to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so that makes this particular market really flexible. And I have joined another weekly market, which is the Soda City Market, which is in Columbia. And I haven't done that one yet because the market fee is a bit higher and they have a membership fee that you pay for the entire year, which is also quite steep, and it's a bit of a drive for me to get there. They do their fee on a sliding scale, which is something that you might experience with some of the weekly markets near you, where it's a membership fee that you pay to get into being a vendor for that at that market for the year. And this particular one, depending on when you join the membership, the fee reduces. So for me to wait until later in the fall to join, the membership fee is a lot lower. So I am still considering doing that. It's a really popular market that has won awards, so I would like to try it at least once. I would love to know down in the comments if you do weekly markets and what your weekly markets are near you. I know on my last video where I recapped my experience at this market, I had someone in the comments who was talking about the setup where you have to join it at the beginning of the season and then you're committed for that season. So lots of different types of weekly markets. All right, so I am here with fellow vendor Cherie, and let's see what she thinks about being a handmade vendor at this market.
I really do like it. This is one of my bigger markets. At this particular one, what I really like about it is that they provide everything for you, which makes it a lot easier on a small business owner. If you don't have like certain items like a tent and tables, you can add more to it, but they do provide that for you. And the fee is very, very, very affordable. So let's just say you have a day to where you don't sell anything. You don't feel like that you just broke the bank because like the fee is only $10 to vend. I kind of started out was going to do like every other week, but then I started seeing how easy it was. And I'm like, okay, I can dedicate another 3-4 hours on a Saturday. Not a big deal. But yeah, the City Center's Farmers Market, we need more vendors out here. So if you're interested and you live in the Florence area, come on out. There's space and there's a good traffic. So yeah, come on out.
I love that in terms of being a handmade vendor versus a food vendor. Do you think this market is a good fit for you or not a good fit?
So I deal with more herbal medicine, and I'm kind of like trying to branch out and just like teach people about back in the day medicine. And like this is our first true medicine. So I think that there's a market out here. I think there's a market for herbal medicine everywhere. I do think that sometimes people are a little bit kind of scared to break out, but this is a good area for herbal medicine. As far as food, I mean, I do have some sourdough cookies and stuff, but if you see like across the way, she's got baked goods, across that way, she's got baked goods. I think everyone's doing really well out here when it comes to food. I mean, she's got lemonades, I got lemonades, we're doing fine. So the more the merrier. There's no competition. I don't like when people think like, oh, that person's there, so I can't do it because we have the same stuff. No, the more the merrier. There's enough room for everybody, and most likely you have something unique than the other person, so come out and show that.
All right, thank you so much, Cherie. That was
you,
so
guys.
awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, I just love her. So are weekly farmers markets worth it for my handmade business? Let's get into the recap. And I hope by the end of this, you have a better idea if you are thinking about doing a weekly farmers market or you're already doing it. My hope for this recap is that it will give you some insight and help you make the same choice for your small handmade business. So in this video, we are talking about the City Center Market in Florence, South Carolina. And the thing I want to kind of hone in to start with this market is the question of, is the low $10 booth fee changing the equation for me with this market? And I would say 100% absolutely, because it is just $10 for a tent and a table on a Saturday. It just really makes it almost a no-brainer, in my opinion. It just makes it so easy to bring my products and to set up, and it makes it a lot easier even if I don't make a ton of sales for that day. I still feel like it is worth my time because it takes me about 30 minutes to get there. So I'm looking at about an hour travel. And then the market itself, so I've done it 3 times, and 2 of the times it's closed early, so it's been a 3-hour market. And then the one day it was open for the full time, which made it a 4-hour market. So all in for these 3 markets, it's been a total of 4 hours versus 5 hours. So not a huge time investment for the day, and that combined, like I said, with the low fee and the fact that they provide the tent and the table just makes it super easy. So for the setup and what I brought, of course I brought my products, and I did decide, so I've done this market 3 times, and the first time I didn't bring an extra table. I just used the 8-foot table that they provide, and that worked out really well. The only thing I did not really love about that setup is that I didn't really have a dedicated checkout area. So for these last 2 weekends, I did bring my 4-foot table for the main purpose of adding a little bit of extra space so that I had more of a designated checkout area, and I really do like that setup for this market. And I've tried it a couple of different ways with setting up my booth where it's more at the corner, with the 4-foot table being more in the booth. And then this last weekend, I set it up where people had to step more into the tent with the 4-foot table on the front. And I definitely like that setup a little bit better. I actually preferred people actually stepping into the tent to shop. So let's talk a little bit about what sold. And here, one of the things that I really wanted to consider, because that's one of the things I have been just in general determining since this business is only a little over 4 months old and I'm testing out a lot of different markets, one of my main questions has been, is this market a good fit for my business? And is this market a good fit for the Maison Camellia customer? And so far with my 3 markets, I would say that it is. So I did this market on May 30th. That was the first time, and I have a whole video where I just focus on that market, which I will link below. And it was a rainy day and the market was open for 3 hours, but on that day I ended up with a total revenue of $223.56, and I had 3 orders, and my average order value for that day was $74.52, which is really, really great in my opinion for a weekly local market. And then this past weekend, or weekend before last, June 20th, that was my second time at this market, and I had 5 total orders, and I sold 12 products across those orders, and my average order value was $93.43. Like, I am still in shock about that. So 5 orders, and the average value of those orders was almost $100. That is like really, I think this might be my best average order value of any market that I have done thus far. And the total revenue for that market day was $467.14. So that has definitely been by far my best day at this market. And I touched on this earlier in the video because it was so wild. I was really feeling kind of like questioning if I was even going to make any money that day, because for the first 3 hours, like nothing was happening. Nobody was really buying anything, and it was one of those days where literally I made all of these sales within the last hour that the market was open, which brings me to this past weekend, June 27th. I was concerned when I learned that they were going to be closing the market an hour early because of the heat, but I still ended up having a great day. That day I only had 2 sales, but they were both really good sales. I sold 4 items total, and my average order value that day was $88.18. So across every single day that I have vended at this market, my average order value has been surprisingly high, like higher than the other markets that I have done. So apparently this particular weekly market is a good fit for the Maison Camellia customer, because I wasn't really sure. Also, something that has been really interesting with this market and just all of my other markets as well, I've done 2 little special collections thus far in my business. I've done the Charleston collection, and then for the market last weekend, they were having the bee theme, and so I made that kind of like bee, the yellow gingham small collection, which, by the way, update on that, I have yet to sell one of those pieces. Everybody thinks that they are so super cute, and I've put them at the corner of the booth of both of these market weekends, so they definitely attract people's attention and I get a lot of comments on them. But yeah, I haven't actually sold any of those yet, and my Charleston collection has not been as big a seller as I thought. What has really been selling the most are just my 4 core colorways that I have in my spring and summer collection, which I was really nervous about when I decided to do that as one of the kind of core business models for this business. I know a lot of other handmade businesses that do sewing, they have a huge selection of designs and prints and styles and everything. So I was a little bit scared about really locking in my products to only offering 4 colorways. But so far, I feel like it's worked in my favor in that it's gone really well, and based on my sales, it seems to be what my actual buyers prefer. So that's just an interesting little bit that I wanted to add in there as well. So weekly markets versus juried events, and the question there is, for me, what role are these weekly markets going to play in my business? So these weekly markets, they are not going to be like the main type of market that I target for my business. Overall, juried events and artisan markets are still where I am focusing for most of my markets that I am selecting. But these weekly markets, how I see them fitting, at least in my business, is this little section of time right now where we are in the summer. It's the summer months, and there aren't as many indoor or juried artisan markets to choose from. So these are kind of like a little stopgap market is the way I am looking at it, and it works for me in my business, especially this particular market, because of the low booth fee, because of how close it is and how easy they make it by providing the setup, right? So if the booth fee were higher, and if I had to bring my tent and all of my tables and the full setup, I would have a very different opinion about it, and I would probably have to rethink my strategy. But for right now, this particular market, and there's another little market that is local that I'm going to be trying in a week or 2, so I will definitely bring you guys along for that one as well. But yeah, that's my plan with these little markets, is that they are not my main focus for the year, but they are kind of like a stopgap for the summer and probably also for the winter. So if you are a vendor, I would love to hear from you. If you do farmers markets and that is your main market that you do, I would love to hear in the comments how that works for you. Let's have a conversation about that. And lessons learned from doing this market now 3 times for my business. And I've already kind of touched on these, but I'm just going to list them all out. So first one is, would I do this every weekend? No, I would not do this market, at least not for my business, every weekend, even though I've had one day where I made $467, which was fantastic. I would rather do a juried event or an all-day market where I make closer to 1,000 or more. That said, I have done some of those markets recently and made very similarly to my $467 day at this market. So it's definitely a learning experience of finding the right markets to do. And there's also different variables, of course, that always play into this, because those 2 markets that I am talking about that are juried markets that were all day, it was during a really hot heat wave. So weather definitely made a difference there. So second question, would I do this once a month? Would I lock in a plan to do it once a month? Possibly. That's something I may still evaluate. Right now I'm thinking no. I kind of like the idea of keeping it kind of as my summer and winter stopgap market option, but I don't know, we will see. And then third question is, would I recommend weekly markets to another handmade vendor? And I would encourage other handmade vendors to test out the different markets that are local to you and see what fits for your business, see what options you have, and give it a try, because I know there's a lot of different formats of weekly markets, which I touched on earlier in the video. Some where you have to pay a membership fee and then you're kind of like agreeing to do the market for the entire season. Some of them are flexible, like this one happens to be. So there are a lot of different options out there, lots of different market types, and I do truly believe that there is an option and there's a market for every business. And the only way you are going to know if it is a good fit for your business is to get out there and give it a try, right? That's the only way we can know what is going to work for our business. So what role should weekly farmers markets play in a handmade business? Now, while I cannot answer that for every handmade business, I can definitely answer it for myself. And for me, what I've landed on is for it to play the role of filling in the gaps when there aren't bigger juried artisan markets to participate in. And I look at them as being that opportunity to bring in some steady revenue or to bring in a little extra revenue during the slower seasons. And right now, for me and my business, that happens to be during the summer and during the winter. And weekly farmers markets are just one of the ways that I plan to bring in some additional revenue during that time. And like I said, I can't answer that question for every handmade business, but I hope this video has given you some ideas and encouraged you to see what options that you have where you are for local weekly farmers markets. And if they are something that you are already doing in your business, I would love to start a conversation down below as to, you know, what is the setup? Is it the membership where you kind of do it for the whole year? Do you do it every weekend? Are you taking a similar approach to what I'm taking? I would love to have a conversation about this down in the comments, because the more that we can share our experiences at different types of markets, the more we can learn from each other and help each other out. So I hope you found this video useful, and always, if you enjoyed it, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. All right, everyone, take care.